Hello hero, it's Lucy Lannon talking a little bit quieter just because I'm filming at night. This is your lunar reading for the Aquarius first quarter moon, the elder moon, in mid-November of 2023. But if you are seeing it at any other time, that's possibly an indication that the information in this reading is pertinent to whenever you are seeing it. So if you want to see further lunar readings for the month that you're in, please hit subscribe and consider looking around the channel for other kinds of readings. But without further ado, I think we'll get to it. I'm reading with the Caroline Miss Caroline Mace archetype cards, my DIY love deck, which doesn't need to be for love and doesn't need to be addressed directly to you, so don't be offended based on those messages. The This Day I Am Oracle deck and this Technoberry Tarot from Pixel Occult. And we may add to that as we go along, depending on what wants to be said. Something else I feel pulled to say is that if you are drawn to this particular faceted crystal just up here, then it may be a good exercise for you to look at the other reading I uploaded today, just because it deals with the same thing. Now, yeah, that's not for you guys. This one is. Right. So it is a general reading for a large audience. Some things will hit, some things will not quite hit. That's perfectly fine. Take what resonates for you, leave the rest for somebody else, because someone will pick up what you put down. Let's see what your activity is in this time period. So we are covering first quarter moon, but we're also covering the waxing gibbous period up to the full moon. So this reading will apply for the next few days, if I haven't said that already. Sorry guys, a little bit discombobulated for reading slightly later than I usually do, but it's been a busy client day on the servers today. Let's see what the Technoberry want to tell you, shall we? As always, if you want a more comprehensive, detailed reading, you can book with me in the link down below. There is also a PayPal donation link, so buying me a coffee is appreciated, but not entirely necessary. And you know what to do if you enjoy the reading, if it resonates. Let me know in the comments, hit like, subscribe, share the channel, etc. I'm going to start with these three, are we? And then we're going to carry on shuffling. I do read with reversals, guys, but don't be alarmed, it's just another 78 meanings, and many of those meanings will be positive ones. Let's get three more, I think. Immediately I'm getting that this "I'm so proud of you" could be from a loved one who is no longer with us, and I don't do readings focused around that for ethical reasons, but if it comes through, it comes through. So if you have somebody that you've been feeling the presence of lately, I think they're proud of whatever you've been doing, and we'll get more into that as we go along. I mean, last time within this cycle of lunars, we did have information sort of about responding to a higher calling and getting some stuff out of the way first in terms of connection clearing, space clearing, all these kinds of things, all of which are relevant as well to the spirituality reading posted this morning, although it's a little longer, so listen at, 2 times speed or whatever. But I feel like whatever motion you've been taking towards something a little more vocational than what you were doing, or learning a new skill in some way, that's been appreciated from the other side. And if you're not aware of anybody specifically speaking to that, this could be just a nod towards your guides, your spirit council, your contract holders, etc., depending on affiliation. Okay, I'm just going to pause and take in what's going on with these cards, but before I do, we've got the Warrior in the Shadow, which is trading ethical principles for victory at any cost, indifference to the suffering inflicted on others. This doesn't have to be you, by the way. Then we've got This Day I Am Feeling Grateful, writing down 5 things we're grateful for, focusing on them throughout the day to find motivation and feel gratitude. And then we've got Get on Your Knees and I'm So Proud of You. That was originally in the deck as a spicy card, but it doesn't have to be in this context. We'll look at the rest. Then we've got a World Reversed, a 2 of Pentacles, a 5 of Swords, an Ace of Cups, a Wheel of Fortune, and a Queen of Swords reversed, a Four of Swords, a Four of Pentacles reversed, and a Two of Wands. Right, I'm going to take that little pause. There'll be a quick cut which you won't feel. Alright gang, it's interesting that in the shuffle, if you didn't see it, we had this idea that something on the other side is particularly proud of you at this time. I feel that is a correct affirmation, but I feel that almost it's been presented here as a counterpoint to what is happening elsewhere in the reading. Feeling grateful is also a counterpoint thing. The get on your knees and the reverse warrior, you may have already linked together as being somebody in your life. My feeling with this world reverse, and particularly the fact that it's depicted with kind of laurels around it and what looks like a star card figure and a victory parade in some way. Sorry, that's out of focus. My feeling is that you have done well on something in particular, perhaps even movement towards that wider calling that we spoke about at the new moon. You've been progressing very well. I'm also seeing this armor as like Tron armor from Tron Legacy. So there is something here about laying down a legacy, something about following in the footsteps of somebody but updating it for real time. If you are drawn to things about the Tron ride, Imagineers, that kind of thing, please do check out that spirituality reading I put out today. I'll link it in the description if I remember to. But there's stuff about creating the artifice of rides and things that is relevant to you at this time. It won't be for all of you, I'm just putting that down for who needs it. Yeah, so it's a sort of star figure. It's somebody with the world, it's like an Olympian as well. And with these laurels, it's sort of like a Six of Wands victory parade energy. But you'll notice it's arrived in reverse. I think that somebody around you is seeing progress, if not full success, and doesn't want you to have the victory parade that frankly you do deserve because you worked very hard to be where you are. I also see that you've been juggling a lot with this Two of Pentacles. You've been sort of keeping a lot of plates spinning in terms of your objectives, particularly if you're a musician, because this background reminds me of Joy Division. There's something here also about somebody spinning plates that are unseen to you. So this could be an ex-partner who is not known for their fidelity. It could be somebody with cluster B personality traits where they need to discuss others behind their backs. They need to gossip as a hobby because they don't have their own creative outlets, that kind of a thing. For some of you, I'm hearing it's a family member who you can't quite fully distance from because of who they are to you, but who likes to find out what you've been doing in the positive and spin it in the negative for kind of clout back home. That's whether you live in your hometown or not, right? There's a sense that somebody is wearing a mask and also kind of keeping things in the air, keeping things spinning, but also spinning a tale, spinning a narrative about something which isn't true, particularly because with these two squares, they kind of link into each other. They're representing the same thing, but one of them is completely inverted. So it's almost like the tale of how you did, or the stories about what you're coming back with, or something you're studying, something you're achieving at work, something you're doing spiritually, a new friendship circle, a new relationship even. These things are coming back to this person who outwardly should be happy for you. And instead of receiving and giving back happiness, they're receiving it, putting on a smiley face, saying, well done you, I'm so proud of you. But actually what they're spinning about the tale to other people is that you're not so victorious after all, or you shouldn't be given the accolades that you've been given. 021 may be relevant, or 120 as an angel number. Do put that in the comments if you want to look it up, because there's so many places saying different things about what each one means. If I remember, I'll put the definition I find first down there as well. But there's something fishy going on here, and obviously it's the 21 card, but there's something about that 0 creeping in before, right? It's almost as if you do know the tarot, this person wants to paint you as the Fool card. They want to imply that you've been doing incredibly risky things to get to where you are, or indeed that you are too foolish to sustain the success that you've been having, even if it's just in small ways. Now, as to their motivation, I can't tell you. What I can tell you as a reader with 13 plus years experience and a lot more magical and spiritual experience for decades besides, is that actually, other than putting up a mirror to them magically, the best thing you can do is to remain kind, remain polite, and tell them as little as possible. Give them as little to weave a narrative with as you possibly can, whilst maintaining a veneer of civility and indeed a genuine aspect of compassion, of kindness for this person, hoping they snap out of it, hoping they feel better, hoping they get a hobby real soon, right? Because you are the warrior in the upright, and I feel actually part of that is that whoever this person is, you've either had a long experience with them displaying this behaviour, or you've had a similar personality type recurring for you contractually and in terms of who you've manifested again and again and again in order to teach you how to deal with it gracefully. But that's not been a positive experience, and you have felt like you're fighting against things, which is where this Five of Swords comes in, because this is not just a conflict between people, and you'll see two figures here and then one kind of pretending they didn't hear any of it, which I feel is this person's audience. But also this person is in the white robes, and I don't want to make problematic assumptions about, black versus white in that polarity in here. But to me, this white-robed person is signifying the querent and is signifying forces for good, partly because of this World card. So this is you fighting off the fact that this happens every time. And actually what's interesting with this five is that you'll see the person kind of being fought, and I hope this is appropriate to put on YouTube, but they're kind of bleeding out of the chest. So there is something about this person that carries a heart wound or is broken in terms of how they relate to others, and that may be relevant to not whether you forgive, because sometimes if these things are recurring it's very difficult to forgive, but certainly whether you understand that they too are coming from some kind of history or pain, and that it would be risky for them to not call you risky or to celebrate your successes. And that might lead to a bit of compassion at your end that softens the blade of whatever this is. So I'm going to read this again. Trading ethical principles for victory at any cost and indifference to the suffering inflicted on others. Obviously the latter part of that is very relevant. But trading ethical principles may be relevant if this person is either somebody who claims to be spiritual themselves, or somebody involved with your workplace and the ethics of whatever industry you're in, be you an employee or a solopreneur or whatever. There's something here about, even just in the way that they're sort of spinning stuff, they will trade authenticity, they will trade verisimilitude even for accolades to them, despite not having done much except talked about you, right? Warrior in the light is relevant because this is what you're going to need to embody in order to kind of have this move out and through you. So we've got strength, skill, discipline and toughness of will, heroism, stoicism and self-sacrifice in conquering the ego. Again, with the stoicism, I do feel that if you know how to grey rock a person, it's appropriate to do that at this time. If you can go no contact, great, but many of us can't. As I said, it's just appropriate to tell them as little as possible about both your successes and failures. And if that means that the places you publicly display your successes are a little bit muted or limited for this person at this time, that is a good price to pay for genuine privacy where your name is not being tarnished, okay? And I don't mean that just in terms of private reputations, but in terms of public merit also, because let's face it, these days everybody is a brand. Every business is publicised in some way across social media, or it's some kind of word of mouth for everything. So I'm not saying that they're targeting you in that particular way. Many of them wouldn't know how or can't be bothered because they're not the most engaged with their own environment, to be honest, or they wouldn't need gossip. But Certainly if there is a place where they can display that they are involved with you, for instance, if you're a tarot reader and they can be in your comment section, or if you're on Instagram and they can see what it is that you're up to and see who you're interacting with and sort of go to those people about you, I would limit that, right, in whatever way that you can. And again, without appearing that you are their enemy, because I think they will, from experience, I think that this is the sort of person to thrive on any kind of any image of conflict that they can put around you to justify the things they've been saying. So it's important that you don't flare up, that you remain stoic, that you fight the warrior thing in the light, and that you remain level and civil and kingly, any gender and all these good things. But I think that whilst you're doing that, give them as little info as possible about you, and quietly step back from anyone you have in common at the moment, or quietly step back from any platform where they can see what it is that you've been up to, and just go about your business in a slightly more secret way, at least over this next period of a few days, which I believe lasts until the 27th. So it's not long, you know, it's just over a week to kind of keep yourself to yourself, but that is the first thing that's been advised here. With get on your knees as well, I do feel, particularly if this is a family member, you might be walking the same path as either what someone did or what someone wanted to do before, particularly with this being about legacy. And with get on your knees and I'm so proud of you simultaneous to each other, it gives me a real ick feeling. I feel that this person will outwardly say, I'm so proud of you. You know, a parent, I'm so proud of my baby. A partner, I'm so proud of, again, my baby. Or even just like a family member, like, oh yeah, I'm so proud that this is happening in the family, whatever. But the private feeling is, get on your knees, I did it first. Submit to me, I did it first. Get on your knees could also be literally the spicy interpretation. If this is a partner or ex-partner, this could have been somebody who was quite dominant. And again, in my personal experience and extreme bias, many people, not all, but many, who are drawn to dominance in that arena need the power for some reason, have had experiences of being disempowered, right, bleeding through the chest. And sometimes the behaviours can be really healthy and positive and great for all concerned and, you know, consensual as well as transformative, as BDSM often is. But many other times it is about having somebody on their knees for you when you've never had that kind of power over someone. And that can spiral out of control into environments where somebody is on a power trip and they are looking for people who are new to that environment, who are new blood, who are perhaps naive, who are desperate to receive approval in their own ways, in order that they can exploit that and be inappropriately overt in their displays of power to the point of harming another person. So it's only for some of you and it's a small portion for this reading, but if that is a dynamic that resonates, be extra careful in your personal and private life that you are around people who are doing the things that they're doing for the same reasons that you would chase down those things, okay? I'm not saying that that entire world is harmful or bollocks or whatever it is. I'm saying that within that world, there is quite often a very predatory dynamic that attracts a certain personality type with certain traits. And if somebody really doesn't have much time on their hands other than to talk ish about someone or bring somebody else down, then they are likely seeking power in whatever way they can get it. And they are likely also not cognizant of how that affects other people in ways that can be quite alarming. So, as I said, not for everyone, but take it if it hits. Let me know in the comments if that one pings out to you. Obviously, you don't need to go into great details of your private life, but I'd appreciate that if that niche is met, I get that feedback, right? Moving to the second column, because frankly, I'm sick of this energy and they're kind of sick of themselves, right? We have an Ace of Cups, we have a Wheel of Fortune, and then we have this Queen of Swords in reverse. I think that there has possibly been a defensive-ness with you whether you identify as a queen in any particular dynamic. Hating my queens of all kinds, right? And that is with this butterfly, and with it being reversed, gradually changing. I think you've been on guard because you've been around people like this. I think when we talked last time about clearing out certain things, part of that is you seeking to discard the influences that invite these kinds of people in. That's not to victim blame or say you're inviting it, but I think at some point there might have been a feeling from you of like, what is my pattern that this keeps happening? How can I eject any remnants of that pattern from my life and immediate environment? And good for you if you're going through those processes. I highly recommend bibliotherapy. There's a lot of good resources out there for these kinds of relationships, whether they be familial, romantic, or otherwise. But I feel that in that process of what can I get rid of, what can I do, how can I take back my power and control and surrender reading may be relevant, I'll link it below. You have come out of a space of defensiveness, of delineation, of boundary setting, and into a space where you're actually quite confident to defend yourself again. And look at this formidable figure, right? I really love the Queen of Swords in this deck. I mean, I love the Queen of Swords anyway, because it's all about sort of going about your own freedom by drawing the line between things, by separation, by delineation, as I said, or by literally a martial kind of defensiveness. It's a very empowering card, which is very often misunderstood. But I think particularly in this deck with this circuit tattoos and all the sort of stuff going on around the mask and this kind of Sabine looking figure, this is very much also about you defining your own version of empowerment. This is not a Queen of Swords that looks like everybody else. She's not the classic delineation, the classic leadership. She's somebody who is going against the mold in various ways, who is doing things with this hair on one side in a kind of potentially topsy-turvy or leaning one way and not the other kind of a fashion. She's very sort of neither in terms of gender, in terms of affiliation. You know, she's not light, she's not dark, she's not masculine, she's not feminine, she's not identified with the things that are common to this queen, but she's very much her own energy. She's very bombastic in the way that she presents, very happy to be whoever she is, and moving through the winds, through the clouds, in a very easy way that doesn't part them, that doesn't separate, that doesn't disrupt the natural flow of things. And I think that's a place that you're reaching. And again, regardless of gender affiliation, regardless of whether you feel like royalty or whether indeed you feel like complete shit, I think that this is the process that you're in, of differentiation. And as a result of that, flowering up out of that, we have the fact that the fates are changing and a love offer is being made. Now, obviously this is particularly relevant if you're single, and I do think that if you are, with the dove as well, this is not just a message but a peace offering. It's an olive branch, and again it's the lotus is on here because this is something that flowered out of the mud. This is something that grew out of seeming nothingness, seeming dirt, out of something that was rotten, or a chance that was sort of expunged in some way. And now it's coming back through this hand, which also looks like the Queen of Swords hand, into, hey, do you want to talk again? Hey, do you want to hang out again? Or, hey, actually, this is how I feel. And I can see now from how you've flowered, from how you've progressed, that it is absolutely worth expressing it and telling you and adding to your cup with some kind of material thing. So if you're owed money, this could be that you're being paid back, but on a much less literal sense, this is someone offering a physical meeting to an emotional dynamic, or seeing how much you've progressed, potentially even through the same windows that this first person was looking at, and realizing how much you've alchemized that living in the mud, living in the dirt, living in bad reputation, etc., into something meaningful, profitable, beautiful, all the rest of it. And from that process, they want to offer something back, but I do feel it's going to be an in-person thing. So whether or not your initial contact with this individual will be digital or something. I think you will meet up very soon, probably within these few days, right? Because the fates are turning. Also, if you're not single at this time, I think that this is just someone you're close to, offering to up their level of payback to you for who it is that you are and what it is that you do. Some of you are feeling comfortable resting in your feminine receptive energy for the first time. You've worked through perhaps standing in the hyper-masculine, the do, the hustle culture that we've thankfully just kind of come out of in a cultural sense. And you're there with your hand out, ready to receive from the people around you. This is an expression of that receptivity. So it could be anything from a date to a massage to a really big scale thing like let's move in together, or let's have a child, or let's travel here, or I'm going to financially support you. You know, you do you. We're not materialistic on this channel, but we also don't judge those who do want a bit of support in that realm, right? So this is just going to be that somebody's love language is generous to you in a way that can be held, in a way that can be felt physically, right? Yeah, with the Wheel of Fortune, the tides are turning, but also it's interesting that this number here reflects this number here. So again, this is to do with your reputation, to do with your achievements so far, to do with you receiving the praise that you deserved before, because this Olympian may not have gotten it, but then this person here looks to me like a pharaoh. This is somebody who would be revered, who would be not just a leader, but also considered to be part of Godhead, to be a movement of the divine through the world. And again, the spiritual reading I put out this morning might be relevant if you resonate with that for the first time, or if you've always wanted to feel like part of the force, right? Or God, or whatever it is that you see, but you felt separate from it because of low self-esteem, because of attacks from other people. It would be a very relevant reading to you, because many of us at this time are taking back our power, taking back the idea that we are co-creators, taking back the idea that we deserve good things, actually. And with Anubis cropping up and there being a snake here, this is the death of the old, but it's a return to the underworld for you. Now, we've spoken many times recently on this channel, including in the aforementioned reading, about the Plutonic period that we've just passed through as a planet, right? Of kind of descending into the self, having periods of isolation, of loneliness, of reevaluation, in order to come back up to reality and planet Earth and all the rest of it with a new sense of what it is that we want to do or organise or be. This very much came out in the last lunar as well, right? In terms of the calling to something higher, something more vocational. I think that you had a tricky relationship to that underworld period. I think you felt that it was imposed upon you in some senses, rather than being something which you embraced very readily. And I think that now, in the next few days, you're finally understanding, perhaps even through watching readings like this, that it was a beneficial thing, and that you can return to the archetypes of it, or the issues of it, or the things you contemplated over that period with safety, with sunlight, with the confidence of being up above ground, but the knowledge and wisdom of being in the underworld in terms of this serpent and this Anubis here. Also bear in mind that the serpent is sometimes very much to do with geographic location, right? We think of ley lines versus serpent's lines. We refer to the crooked path in witchcraft, the snake's path, right? And all of this relates to the undercurrents of the earth and how they relate to places of power in the above ground geographical. Underland by Robert McFarlane. It's a fantastic book if you're interested in beneath spaces. Highly recommend if you're on a Plutonic journey that you're very aware of, right? Or if you've got Pluto transits, as I've got coming up, and as America as a whole has at the moment, right? But yeah, it's sort of to do with geographical location as well. So there may even, for some of you, be a returning to a specific place that was relevant to that time period, or to the blossoming of knowledge kind of from the mud or from the underworld for you, as it relates to modern life. For some as well, this person that said they were proud of you is tied to a place, and that is where you will be going, either in vision or in reality, but again, not for everyone. Anubis also weighs the hearts of people who are about to move through the afterlife and sort of nothings anybody whose heart is not pure, right? So there is a sense that anything that is not correct for you at this time is not just being cleared out in a practical way, as with the last reading and as with the spirituality reading, but also it's been unmade, right? And I use that word specifically because the Tom York song from the Suspiria remake is in my head. I'll link it below. It's fantastic in context, and I can't show the context on YouTube, but if you are a horror fan, please watch that movie all the way through. It is a divine wisdom experience, and in terms of the pagan things running through it, I actually prefer it to the original. Don't come for me. That's not to say I prefer the visuals or anything like that. It's just a thing. But the Tom York song Unmade may be relevant either way. The lyrics may be relevant, right? Little Bird is something that leaps out to me with this bird here. Or indeed you may be encountering a partner that loves Tom York, loves horror, anything like that. So yeah, there's this sense of unmaking that which was not for you, not just clearing it out, not just passing it back to the earth, not just, taking it to your local charity shop, or I believe they're called thrift stores in America, right? But actually clicking it out of existence in order to birth something from the dust that was, right? All in all, it's a very good new start, but I think this bit here is not even the final hurdle, but just dealing with a niggle before you get to that. And it may even be that on some level, this person senses that you're coming into a period where offerings are made, material stuff's getting easier, you're sort of reconciling your darker patches and your old narrative with something new and wonderful, and you're alchemizing experiences very efficiently. And that's going to rub people up the wrong way if, even when you weren't doing that, they were jealous of you, right? Or they were wishing that they had taken stuff as far as you did and feeling salty about it and talking to other people sort of about how you're doing. Okay, so in this final column, we've got a 4 of Swords, 4 of Pentacles reversed, and a 2 of Wands. This 2 of Wands is making me think of the phrase sayonara dipshit, right? I'm not sure. I'm not sure where Spirit got that, or indeed where the back of my mind is remembering it from movie-wise. If you do know that or remember it, then let me know in the comments. I'd love to know. It may just be something that's coming from Spirit, because they do talk to me in my own colloquialisms. But there's very much the sense that this person, yes, they're doing the normal travelling and planning thing that the 2 of Wands does. And mobility is certainly on their mind because of this, right? They are able to conquer their circumstances and still move freely through the world in a very metropolitan way. But also they're throwing down the wands, throwing down the burdens, throwing down the restrictions they did have and saying sayonara dipshit, or alternately, bye Felicia, right? It's very like, yeah, I'm out, see ya. And you can kind of only say these kinds of things if you're already in a position of power such that nobody can argue with you. I feel that this person, whoever they were, felt that in affecting your reputation or even just your self-esteem or diminishing you in some passive-aggressive way, that they were restricting your movements through the world. For a minority of you, and I've experienced this myself, they may have used physical difference or physical disability or differently abled characteristics to restrict you, to gaslight you about what it was that you were capable of doing. Again, I've experienced that for a majority of my life. I can speak about it on the channel if anyone wants that, hit me up in the comments. But there is a sense of you doing what I did and kind of taking back your freedom in that sense. And also differentiating with the label of what it is that you call that restriction, right? Is it restrictive, or can you reframe the language around it? Can you, for instance, like I did, rebrand as a mutant in the X-Men sense? You know, we are the future. We are different because we are good. We are the next step. That kind of an understanding of something. instead of seeing it as, I can't do this that other people can do, or this person is pointing out how I was held back. And again, that doesn't have to be about disability. I'm delighted to read for the disabled as a disabled person, you know, mutants unite, but this could just as easily be about anything which held you back, in terms of you not being born into a position of privilege, whether that's through class, through race, through sexuality, gender affiliation, anything at all, where somebody else could pick that out and say, well, you know, they've done impressive for somebody who's like this, but also I don't think they're doing as well as they're saying, or also I think they're doing it this wrong way, or also, you know, I could have done it better, or I imagine that they're being laughed at because of this, that, or the other thing. You are taking all of those kinds of statements and accusations and saying, motherfucker, not only did I do well, but I did well not in spite of my differences, but in spite of you specifically. And that is where you are throwing down your wands. You are saying, here, have some of my creativity because you don't have any of your own, right? You are welcome to chitter away in the backgrounds of the output that I provide because I know that you can't create anything for yourself. And in doing that, you are finally free and your mobility physically and spiritually increases, right? It's a very interesting dynamic, but I felt pulled to talk about that first. Moving up and out through it, I think that, again, this speaks to like this Queen of Swords in reverse and this Four of Pentacles in reverse are similar energies. You are moving out of a period where you needed to stash financial resources, bury your treasure, keep your love to yourself, keep your affection, I'm hearing for some of you, to yourself. You are linking all of that back to people who have behaved like this person. And again, they don't need to be influential in your life, but they do represent a pattern that was. And you are feeling really grateful about your present circumstances, enough that you can adequately express yourself in the ways that you would choose to, without feeling held back in the way that this person, I think, probably would have wanted, right? They would have wanted you to be less affectionate, less loving, less wealthy, less secure. And I think you're finally getting like, oh, that's what you were trying to do. And it's actually because you don't have your own wants, your own creativity, your own vision. So what you concentrate on is to diminish mine, right? And again, doesn't have to apply to just one, can be a thing you've had from many people. But the realization of that is actually bringing out characteristics in you that are not new to you, but things that have been long buried, like that buried treasure, right? You're digging it back up. You're saying, look, I had all this gold the whole time. I was dealing with all of this the whole time. And actually, I always had the power. It's just sort of getting into the habit of expressing it. For some of you as well, there is an increased control over your material assets. I'm noticing the ties to this person attached to the pentacles. This could be that you are having a sudden increase with your investments, with something to do with your home security situation, like locking into a contract for longer or buying a new home. And congratulations if that's you. That's a huge step and I'm proud of you too. Or it could be as simple as, I feel like I can be more expressive now because my materiality is covered. My sense of deep security in that kind of Cancerian underneath the nurturing way is sated for the first time in a long time, or perhaps the first time ever. And therefore I can go forward and be more expressive and continue to absolutely boss it. Let's turn this in the upright, give you the credit you deserve for what it is that you've been doing. Some of you are physical athletes as well because of all this Olympian imagery. Others of you are tattooists because I'm seeing this as black work on this person's neck, but whatever it is that you do, you're doing it fucking well, my dude, and I love you for it, and I'm proud of you, Spirit's proud of you. And actually, this person, if they could just shut up for a minute, would probably express that they were proud of you too, right? If they didn't have all of this heart wounding, if they didn't have a need to domineer others, they would probably be proud. They would probably admit that the reason they pick on you specifically is that you're a bit of a triple threat in some way, right? Okay, so ending with this Four of Swords is interesting. This is rest, this is respite, this is sanctuary. All of that again came up in the spirituality reading from this morning, which, yes, it's long, but you can come back to it in sections. Highly recommend you go through the induction process of that, because a lot of the imagery in these cards are telling me that you are a man, woman, other on a mission, and that pertains directly to that reading. So that's for some of you, but you are taking up the sword in either sense, right? You are coming to, again, that sense of calling or purpose that was just breaking through the soil in the last reading that we had is now a clear bud, which is about to flower imminently. You've done a fuck of a lot of growing in the last 12 or so days, so that by the end of this moon period, you are absolutely ready to leap back in a bigger, broader, much more focused way. I feel pulled to say I'm reading a book called The One Thing, which is a kind of self-help slash time management type thing, where you work on reducing your priorities if you are a multi-creative, as I am, to the thing that would be the most impactful on every facet of your life, and you vow to do that one thing per day, and then you can sort of expand from that once you have a handle on that into having a one thing in each realm of your life. I feel like this is the kind of process you're going through, and I feel, especially to my collective on the spectrum, that if you've struggled with having lots of things going on at once, in a sort of cognitive juggling type way, or indeed if you are a multi-creative, you sing, you dance, you paint, you draw, you make tarot, whatever it is that you do, and you found it difficult to integrate and time and energy manage all of those different pursuits. This is a period of break, of respite, of stepping back a little bit so that you can learn methods, learn techniques of how to manage that easier. So if you are on the spectrum, you might be looking through content pertinent to ADHD and autism and things like that on YouTube, which can be very useful. You might be getting a diagnosis, you might be getting some extra help. And if you're multi-creative, or you're just task managing a lot of different things in both professional and personal, you are learning how to prioritize those things, how to task rank, how to do the biggest thing first. And if all of that sounds vibrant and juicy to you, but you've no idea where to start, read The One Thing. That's what I'm being pushed to say, because it's been absolutely invaluable for me. And I felt like I've achieved more over the last few days having read it than I have in maybe 2 months prior, even though I've done things like Utober and I've had, big movements in my personal life and my security. I feel like I've got more of a handle on things for having a system of priority which doesn't feel untrue for me specifically. And a lot of this energy is about tailoring things to you, understanding your uniqueness as a person, and creating systems that are not just applicable to all the, able-bodied, semi-privileged people who are doing things in completely different fields out there with very little relevance to your day-to-day, but actually taking the awareness that they're using and adapting it for you. And actually, this accusation of you being the fool that's present in these numbers, the 0 and 0, is kind of reflective of that adaptive energy, right? The flip side of the fool being foolish is that the fool is incredibly creative about how they go about things. And particularly if you have come from a background where you've had different obstacles to other people. Hello, hail, welcome. I have in a variety of different ways also. There is a sense of integrating those differences into your techniques. But this 4 is about rest, and it's about taking a step back to do that. So perhaps towards the end of this period of 7 days, maybe in the last sort of 3 to 4, I want you to look into those issues and just kick back a bit. Just take a little bit of time off, however much you can manage, to reassess how you go forward with important things first, and less important things or less important conversations or things that drain you taking up less of your time as you move through, and absolutely boss it and put stuff out into the world that is truly expressive of who you are. For some of you, if this is a love offer coming in, you might actually be able to kick back and brainstorm with that person. You know, it doesn't have to be like a round table session where you both take notes, but maybe just having a snack in the park together or whatever it is that you guys do. And, you know, talking or pillow talking or whatever it is about how you are going to switch things up moving forward, and the new skills that you realise you've always had that are coming to the fore, and how you might integrate them as a unit, as a power couple, as a collaboration, which in the end, all relationships, whether they're romantic or otherwise, should be, right? It should be, I help you, you help me, I benefit you, you benefit me. That is really coming in for you. So I hope that was useful to you. If it was, please hit like, please subscribe, ding the dong, thank you kindly. Share with whoever you can, because as you can see, I'm a small channel with a big message. And hopefully I will see you in the next lunar, or indeed the next reading in general. Full playlist available down below if you want to do like a lucky dip of the whole channel. Take care.